Probably should have cleaned my garage before I started doing this, but that's okay. So I've never done that before, and that's so straight. For whatever reason, I'm not trusting that. Probably should. I wasn't thinking very well. I've got to find some way to make it work. Yeah, one thing to note about this channel is it's not called Man Struggles for Fun. I often make a lot of these mistakes. It is none of this. That biscuit joiner was great, but it's an outside tool because it was smoking. So wasn't that fun? Wasn't that exciting seeing the fire out there and stuff? Well, with that said, obviously it's not the same day. My hair's a little messy. It's got a bunch of chalk in it from all that drywall because I've been doing mudding and drywalling, get the prep for these shelves that I'm building for my son. Now, I thought about doing some paneling on the inside. I've got, I don't know, what is it? 1/16, 1/8, a 1/4 inch, there you go. So I've got some 1/4 inch board over there. I was thinking about paneling it. I'm not going to. We're gonna save that for the travel trailer that's out there. Now, one kind of exciting thing that's happened since then is so many times I've done these videos and I come back and do the edit and my head's up here or I'm out of focus. It's really hard to tell. I think I'm in focus now. I'm trying to get in focus. That light project that we did, it's kind of bright up above, but oh well. And I took an HDMI cable out and now I've got it connected to a small TV. So now I get to talk to myself, which is kind of, it's nice because I can actually frame the shot. I'm the only one in here. The family at this point doesn't want to just stand around and watch me talk. So, hey, you guys do though. So all of you do. I'm sure you do. Now, let's get back to work. We had our fun with the fire. I'm sorry we didn't do any s'mores. You couldn't really tell, but it was raining that day. The next step for me is I'm going to cut this 3/4 inch plywood I've got here. It's 5 layers. It's pretty good. It's kind of thicker. And so the idea is I've got to cut it 15 inches long, or wide, and 55 inches long. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my biscuit joiner. I've got a Ryobi biscuit joiner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the front of it, and then I'm going to use some of our maple that we've got, and I'm going to use that as a cap. So it'll give it kind of a cool look. So it's not just the ends of the plywood. I had my buddies building something similar to this. Instead of it being for shelves for a children's room or a closet, it is shelves for a pantry, and it looked really cool. So thanks, James. But we'll use this. We'll use this as the cap. So this is kind of neat having the TV here. I don't know. I think it might make some of my videos easier to see instead of them being so blurry. I gotta get this big old board over there. Let's get our board. There's a good side on this and there's a bad side. I want to cut through the good side. What we're going to use is a trick that I've been seeing people use where they're just laying a board down like this and then cutting across. It should be pretty straight for construction. So there's my 15. Cut this with my worm saw. So if I want to cut that there, that means I need to be something like that. So that puts me at 16.5. So let's push this guy out to 16.5. There's my 16.5. And hopefully this works out pretty well. I probably should have cleaned my garage before I started doing this, but that's okay. Sawhorse. And the other side is cut, so I don't bind. It might fall. We'll cut halfway and then we'll find a solution. I think I've got an idea. So let's just start cutting. Just make sure I got that set correctly. No point in blasting through it too deep. Okay, there we go. Now let's check it out. Let's see if it works. Okay, so I don't want this to fall, so I'm gonna use another clamp, and I'm gonna see if I can get this to just clamp hold itself here. Because if I let this fall, it'll just wind up, it'll break that before I'm done actually cutting it. Because I've never done this before, so we'll see how it works. I would say that worked out pretty well. Wow, that is cool. So I've never done that before, and that's so straight. It's so straight. Look at that. Look how straight it is. Now that makes it so much faster. Let's see how many shelves we can get out of this guy. Okay, so let's give ourselves 16 and a half. There's 16 and a half. Now let's just double check this didn't pull out. That's good. Good enough. Go to the other side of this sawhorse. And clamp on. So I'm kind of thinking about it here right now, and I probably, to maintain my flat level, I probably should be cutting this way, so that way I've got more space to keep level. Because this way you know, hey, there's gonna be, it'll be flat, but it won't necessarily be square on this cut. So that's probably something I should have thought about, but no, next time. Again, that looks really cool. Man, I've been watching a lot of maker videos. I don't even think you need that saw guide. So as you saw there, I probably dinged it up more than I should have. Right, probably should measure it from the other side. Let's just get right to the edge there, make it easy for ourselves. So those are 15. And instead of cutting this way and only having that inch clearance to work with to keep it level, I flip it and do, yeah, my cord's not long enough. There we go. What is it? I like my workbench on wheels, but I also don't like it on wheels. I'm never having to do any real pounding away. So I'm going to come over here, and there's a guide. It's telling me what the inch is. It's got 3 inches right there. For whatever reason, I'm not trusting that. Probably should. They have it on there for a reason. So instead of 15, it's now, I'm going to give it 18 3/4. This side to start, back here. I think this will make it easier to maintain that level. And do our clamp so it doesn't pop. Come on, buddy. So now we got 3. Let's make 4 shelves. Oh, look at that. See, there is a difference. I'm getting a bit of a difference on that last one. It's not even flat, probably 1/8 of an inch. Well, we'll just put that shelf on the bottom so no one can tell. Here, and I'll just fast forward. You don't want to watch this. So I thought about using the miter saw to cut this, but after sort of a second thought, we could probably just get away with using the same trick that we did to rip this, which is measure it at the length it needs to be. Make sure it's flat on it's square there, so that's good. And then we're gonna measure to our 55. Oh, that sucks. It's not 55. Is that closet that deep? I screwed up, and for whatever reason, I knew that it was supposed to be, the closet itself is 54 inches across, and I knew this is 8 feet, or 4 feet, and I don't know, I wasn't thinking very well. So with that said, it's not long enough. And I just cut all of my boards. This plywood was kind of expensive. I've got to find some way to make it work. The shelf actually needs to be another, so it needs to be another 6 inches. So I've got an idea to make it work. To kind of do a U shape, hopefully that'll support it enough. We'll go 3 inches on either side, But then on one side, it'll be, it can go up to 8 inches. So it'll be a 5-set recess. And then I'll biscuit, and hopefully that, and maybe if I do a support, it'll work. Hopefully my wife doesn't notice that I messed up, and she'll just go with it. But this is the piece that we have left. If we're gonna do the jig that we talked about, like I just described, I'll need 10 of these, and if I don't have 10, then I'll just reduce my shelf count, because I really don't want to have to buy another board. Yeah, one thing to note about this channel is it's not called Man Struggles for Fun. I often make a lot of these mistakes. It is not on purpose. All right, so let's see if we can get away with making this a jig. It's not the straightest cut in the world. All right, so I'll need to touch that up. This guy is flying all over the place. So the idea is it'll sit kind of like that. And we'll biscuit a bunch, and hopefully that'll give us enough to make it work. Now I've got to clean this up if I'm going to use this as any kind of template here. And let me just make sure I'm probably like 1/16 off. All right, so I'm going to come in here and try to clean that up. I don't really have an idea how I'm going to do that. I might use my miter saw, because it would be nice to get a nice clean line on that. That kind of did it. I went through and used my miter saw, just sharpened those edges up. Let's just kind of see what that's going to look like. So we need to fit 10 onto here, or we have to do less shelves. Now we've got ourselves a guide here. We know it's going to work. The rest of that off. Okay, we can flip it. I want to give myself room to cut. I can't put it directly on that line. The blade needs to be factored. All right, I think it should be okay to use this as a template. The issues I've always had in the past are when I create a template and then I use it. So like if I cut this out, and then I try to use this one to make the next one, and then I use this one to make the next one as far as a template. That's when I've had issues, because you'll just get the variations and stuff. But this should be fine. We got enough for 3 shelves. I don't know if that's going to work. We may need to sacrifice one of the shelves, so I guess we're just doing 4 shelves now. Yeah, 4 shelves is fine. I've gotten these additional parts done. They're close, they're not great. Let me clean this up and then we'll move into doing the biscuits. I've never used a biscuit joiner before, so this will be exciting. Here, let's set ourselves up for success. Let's use the one that looks the best. It's good enough. We can always just use some wood filler. Okay, so like I said before, I've never used a biscuit cutter before. I think I get the concept of it. So let's just I've got it set to plunge at a certain level. Let's go right to the edge. It's cool, it's just a little smoky. So honestly, I haven't even watched a video on how to do this yet. I just kind of jumped into it. But I kind of get the idea. I'm probably supposed to line up There's supposed to be some kind of line that I should have set. So let's try to find that line. I think that line's right there. And then let's do a line on the edge. That's smoky. Let's see if we can't zoom in just a bit. We drew some lines. So here's a line, and then there's a line. So that's the center of that biscuit, okay? What I'm gonna do here is line those up like this, and then transfer. So this tells me that that's center of that biscuit. So let's give that a shot now. Probably making some mistakes, but we're getting it done. Yeah, thankfully it didn't blow out there. Let's put those biscuits in. Man, jeez. So I've got these Ryobi wood biscuits. A couple different type bonds here. The standard, I think it is type bond 1. I haven't seen type bond 2 before, so maybe there's room for that, but I don't have it. So it goes there. So I don't really know how to clamp this together. Let's add some extra glue, just for some glue's sake. And let's put one in there. Dang, that is really probably... I think that hole I made is probably too deep. Looking at the size of that biscuit there. It's barely anything sticking out. If I pushed it in even further, I'm sure it would... Really nothing would be sticking out. Maybe there's a plunge setting I can set so it doesn't have to go in so deep. Or I can get some bigger biscuits. I don't really know. So let's push that in. Let's hammer that in. That's it. I get it. When I was making this cut, I wasn't down at the level I was supposed to be at. So now it's kind of arcing down. Huh. I think the only solution I have there is to lay that flat. I'll have to lay that flat when it dries. All right, well, for the first one, that's not too bad. So what have we learned? Let's mark it out, I'm supposed to. So let's do a line there. Let's do a biscuit here. And a biscuit there. Let's see if there's a depth guide. Yeah, there's a depth guide on the back right here that'll adjust it. We had it set to 20, which is probably a little bit too aggressive. Let's put it at 10. Okay, so I'm laying all the way flat. Give myself a little knee action here. Let's make sure that biscuit's gonna go in all the way. Yeah, that's better. It was sticking out too far. And then the last one. Is it the bag making it stink? I mean, it's catching stuff, but gosh, it stinks. I always thought these were kind of meant for, how do I say it? I thought these biscuits were meant to actually hold pieces together. And then I've looked at some more reviews, and it sounds like this is really more of a how to align two different pieces together. Like a support. This is meant to just kind of place it, not just necessarily hold it together. Oh, I like that. That's cool. Yeah, that's a lot. So that's what I did. I messed up on this other side over here. When I cut it in, I didn't make sure my thing was all the way flat. You can tell there's some flex here. So I probably do need to do something to kind of support this. I don't know. We'll figure something out. I don't have any solutions right now. All right. Well, I think that should do it for now. Using that biscuit joiner was kind of fun. I made just about every mistake you could possibly make. Remember how we made those jigs that we needed? We had all those different jigs. It was the L shape there. I thought I could save time by cutting the biscuits for all of them at once. Not thinking that half of them need to be this way and then half of them need to be this way. When I went to do the biscuits for the board, half of them were wrong. I didn't consider that. I think it's really important to have this be as true as possible. Some of these aren't true. When I mean true, I mean flat. They weren't planed very well. And it's just weird. I don't know if I can run plywood on my planer or my joiner. I just don't know. But this is the best one I've done, I think. It's flat. It may look like it's not flat, but it's flat. Hopefully it'll sit just like this into my son's closet. And then we'll build a rim, probably 1.5 inches, maybe an inch. Nah, 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches across this. There'll be some back supports on the back of the shelf, on the side of the shelf, and then on the front of the shelf. So this joint is kind of a bummer to have it, but I'm hoping with all the additions that we have in the front and the back support that'll be enough. And if it's not, if I push down and I feel like it'll give, I might even run a support down the middle and make it a metal one. I don't know if I don't think it'll be necessary. But I'm gonna let this dry. I don't have a very clever plan on how to hold this stuff together. I know I've used a lot of jack straps in the past, but I don't want to do that here. I'm thinking if I just put some weight on this, and that combined together might be enough weight over there. And not to be lazy, but I'll probably use wood putty. After I've sanded it, I'll use wood putty to fill in these gaps, if there are any gaps. But yeah, so that'll leave it for now. Let's let this dry. This is probably going to be a long video. Probably was a long video. I don't know. That biscuit joiner was great, but it's an outside tool because it was smoking. And I think that you're going to get that smoke anytime you're putting pressure when a blade is spinning on wood, and it's not very easy. I find that when when I'm trying to force a turn on a saw, sometimes it's the actual rubbing of the outside of the blade will cause a burn, and it was doing a lot of that. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. I imagine the next video will be the last for this. Yeah, I've already said my goodbyes. So, all right, guys. See ya. Is that better? It's gonna be so hard. This is gonna be so hard. All right, so you're probably not aware, but I got a new camera. Well, I didn't get a new camera. The camera was the same. But now I've got it to where I've got a little TV down there, and I can see what's going on. I think that I should probably put that TV on a stand. So as I'm talking to you, I can see myself. So it's like I'm talking to myself. Let's do that instead.